does Hideo Kojima get his ideas? In this podcast, we take a deep dive into his brain and shed light on his creative process. Hideo Kojima presents Brain Structure.
こんにちは、小島秀夫です、ポッドキャストプログラム秀夫小島プレゼンツブレインストラクチャー、今回もスタートしました。
Hello, I'm Hideo Kojima, here with the podcast program Hideo Kojima presents Brain Structure. Now, why am I so hyper? Well, that's because we have a special guest joining us today. And so my partner today is this guy in LA.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Keighley, producer of the Game Awards and the host of TGA, the Jeff's Answer on this podcast. Mr. Kojima, as always, it's a pleasure emceeing with you. And boy, we have a very special episode today. We'll be talking about the Who Am I poster that made quite a stir online. And our very special guest for today's episode will be the one and only Elle Fanning, the actress who will appear in Mr. Kojima's new game. Without further ado, let's jump right into our talk session.
話題沸騰のエル・ファニングさんです。
Miss Elle Fanning, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. I'm very excited to be here and talking to you guys today.
Well, I gotta say, we are all so thrilled, first of all, that you're in the game and we got to see your name in the trailer. We don't know much more, but a few months ago when Hideo, first posted the Who Am I image, everyone started to guess it might be you, and I imagine you probably very quickly got some alerts on your phone from people, right?
I really did. It was unlike anything I had experienced yet, because I've never been in a game before, especially, Hideo's games of this magnitude and how they are so popular, obviously. And when I posted the Who Am I little silhouette of my face on my Instagram, it just went wild. Like it was blowing up, and they were trying to figure out, through photos that I had liked on Hideo's page, like that, okay, we follow each other, so therefore, and I even think people put it together that Nick Reffin he probably introduced you guys, and like they honestly kind of cracked the code. Like it was very funny how, these diehard fans, they just completely knew. And so they did, but and then after, when it was revealed, I have had so many people on the street, strangers, like fans, especially younger people coming up and being like, what is it? Tell me what you're a part of. Like trying to get me to spill all the secrets. I'm like, I can't say anything, but they are so excited. So the response seemed, it was very big. I hadn't experienced that for film, for anything. Huge.
Hideo had it all planned out for months. He told me about the plan of how he was going to tease things, and now it's finally been revealed. You are going to be in DS2. Hideo, maybe tell us, why did you want to cast Elle in this game? What was your interest in working with Elle?
I've always been a fan, and I followed Elle's movies ever since she was a child actress. I've obviously seen Super 8, and she was in Nicholas Winding Refn's movie, Neon Demon. And Nicholas had told me time and time again just how great of a person Elle is. So even before I went independent, I knew that I wanted to cast her in one of my games. One of my favorite movies is Mary Shelley. I saw that in theaters, and that did it for me. I knew it right there and then. And of course, I have the soundtrack to Teen Spirit. So when I was planning DS2, I always had Elle in the back of my mind as I wrote the story. I consulted Nicholas right away, and that's how I was able to get in touch with Elle.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, that was such an exciting kind of text to get, because Nick told me about it first. He was like, you have to, I do this game, and this is my friend Hideo. He's a genius, and he wants you to be in this game. And he basically was saying, you have to do it. Like, it's an amazing experience, and please make it work. And of course, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of this. And I got to Zoom with you. And, I heard a lot of secrets that I'm not going to say, but you kind of told me the story of DS2. And I think that's what's so intriguing about this, is that it's so beyond a video game. And of course, it's something that you can play. But I think as an actor, that's, this is a full story. It is completely like an immersive movie in my eyes. That's kind of how I see it. And I think it's so smart that you choose actors in these parts, because they are full-fleshed characters that you write, and you write everyone's their lines, and you have to be emotive and show that emotion. And I was also really intrigued with the character that you wanted me to play and wanted to do that. So I actually looked at it as another movie role, because in my eyes, it is a movie. And it does, there's a certain amount of time that we have to carve out to talk and to do the voiceover and to really get to make this movie come alive. And it's not just a video game. And that's it's so special what you're doing. And obviously that's what makes you stand out from all the rest and stand out from the crowd. But I'm fascinated about this world, because it's not really, I will admit, it's not a world that I didn't grow up playing a lot of video games. Like my family, they all played sports. And so and I honestly didn't even grow up watching a lot of movies, funny enough. So my family, my mom played tennis, my dad played baseball, my grandfather was a quarterback in the NFL. So it was always like, go play outside. Like, don't sit in front of the screen, go play outside. And my sister and I were supposed to be tennis players. And we ended up in this whole, filming movies and in these fantasy worlds. But so now through you, I'm getting a bit more introduced to this world that I hadn't been so in before, but now I'm in. Now I'm in, I think.
Well, I'm sure you and you probably watched on YouTube or something some of the trailers for DS1 and what they've done with that, and it's amazing, as you said, because Hideo's work is so deep and intellectual, right? And there's always kind of meaning and thought behind it, and it's not just a Twitch game, right? I mean, it really is about, as you said, the story and the narrative. When he describes it to you, it does feel like a movie, right?
Completely, yeah. And also, I love the fact that it's about trying to bring people together. I think that was something that Hideo kind of hit on the head, because when you think traditional video games, you're always like, oh, you're just trying to kill the bad guy, or at least you think like you're just trying to murder someone or kill as many people as you can. And that's not what you do with Death Stranding. And it's about trying to bring us together and make these deliveries and make these connections with these. You have to meet these characters in order to fulfill the journey and the goal. And I thought that was a really nice message, when he describes that.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a lot of your vision. I know even on the first game said this idea of connections and everyone coming together. And you said, the characters are really such a star of the game, and all these characters. So, Elle, you're joining the cast. We saw in the trailer that there are a lot of other great cast members, and I'm sure part of the fun for you will get to interact with some of these other actors. And we can't share too much about your character, although there's lots of speculation online. But what appealed to you when Hideo first sort of pitched the project to you? You said it was an instant yes, but was there anything that kind of grabbed you particularly about this project?
最初本当は飛行機乗って
Well, under normal circumstances, I would have gotten on a plane and given you the pitch in person, Elle. But because of the pandemic, we had to do it over Zoom.
That is true. Yeah, we had like a whole screen sharing situation on Zoom, and but really pitched it beautifully. Like, it was an amazing PowerPoint presentation. You definitely sold me on it. Although I do wish that you could have come out and seen me. And we have so many friends in common, I feel. And they Johan is there with you right now and visiting, and also known as Wood Kid, who I've known for a very long time. So I feel like, I wish you could come visit. Maybe soon. I know it's so far away though. I'm in London most of the time, and our time difference is very different right now.
But you did. I know you did do the scan, because we saw the photos that Hideo posted in the scanning room. So what was that process like for you?
That was incredible. I'd never done anything like that before. It took a full day. And also, if you're trying to find your character in a lot of ways, because you have to, we're dressing up in the costume and we're trying to find what hair is going to work for the character, what makeup. And so, and also just the movements of the character, what's going to work. Because of course, there are the traditional, like you just stand there, not in any pose at all, but in this crazy dome with thousands of cameras that all go off at the same time. And Hideo was there all through the day. I think it was like 4 a.m. for him.
Yeah, it was. We shot for 3 days.
When we were doing this, and he's sitting there on the computer and observing everything and is so hands-on. I think that it's very rare to find that with projects in general. I seem to find sometimes that people will, they'll be there and they'll do the presentation, but then when you're actually doing the stuff, they won't really be involved. But Hideo is he's always there, and always, just wants it to go smoothly, and it's his vision, and it's very it's a very supportive feeling. Like you feel very supportive and supported. And so yeah, all through that day. And you also do crazy faces, like really insane emotions that you have to kind of move your lips in certain ways and close one eye and scrunch up your nose, and so they can really manipulate your emotions in your face. And gosh, yeah, my whole body, everything is scanned. Like they can make me do anything. It seems they really can. But they did say like the technology is, even from the last game, it's like way more than before. So I think it's just obviously going to keep progressing, but I'm excited. And, I know that the world hasn't seen, I know who I am as a character, but the world hasn't seen what my character is. But I haven't actually seen her completely yet, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting
for a little while, but
that's right.
新しいテクノロジーを今回ちょっと使ってますんで。
I can't reveal much right now, but we've been using a new technology this time around. So I think the scanning process was a bit difficult. But Elle had fun with it, and I'm really thankful for that. We had her wear some costumes and did hair and makeup too. We built up the image of her character together. I can't say anything about Elle's character yet, but let's just say I wanted to use all of Elle's talents and charm and create a character unlike any other. And even though I have the whole character set up and the script is finished, I'll take in observations I make about Elle and incorporate those characteristics. For example, I changed up the script based off Elle's gestures and movements off camera at the scanning sessions. So I think it's a little bit different from how movies are filmed.
Yeah. I remember you said that, because I remember after we had finished that day, you got to spend more time with me, because obviously we'd only just done that initial Zoom, or you watched my films, but we hadn't, spent a lot of time together. But after that day, you were like, I think I'm going to rewrite the script now. I have new ideas after meeting you a bit. So that's really interesting. The only other person that's really worked that way, I will say, that I've worked with was Nick Reffin, funny enough, because when we filmed The Neon Demon, he films chronologically. So you have the freedom to change the script, whereas, normal film shoots, you're always going back and forth and all over the place. So the script pretty much has to stay locked. But Nick didn't know how that movie was going to end while we were filming it. And he actually asked the crew, I think he did this as a joke, but he asked the crew to put in a bucket how everyone wanted it to end, because he was like, I don't know yet, so maybe we'll have a contest and see who has the best idea. But that was neat to have the freedom to work kind of in a more malleable fashion, I guess, where it was ever changing, so there's always a surprise.
Yeah, Hideo, you probably can't give us too many details, but can you say how that day with Elle, how that may have changed the character or inspired some elements of how the script or the character evolves?
いや、大幅に変えましたよ。もうなかったシーンも入れました。
Well, yeah, I changed a lot. I even added in new scenes. So I changed stuff during performance captures and whatnot, but on top of that, I want the actors like Elle, for example, to be a part of the creative process by participating as a creator.
Now, Elle, I know you've got lots of filming still to do on this, so it's going to be, a project that's going to extend into, I'm sure, next year for you and everything. Are you excited to be doing, more of the PCAP and whatnot? I
am. I've never really done anything like that. The closest, I think, like on Maleficent, obviously it was a while ago, but I did a few things like that. Like we did have scanning. It wasn't as like intensive scanning, but there were scans and like, a lot of green screen. So you're on sets that they're going to create later. And so I'm used to that, but I've never done like motion capture, had to be in the suits. I've never done that. I've seen actors obviously do it. And also I've watched videos of, people on Death Stranding doing it for the first game. So that it's fascinating to me because they have to, and I think acting in general is just using your imagination, but you really have to use your imagination to a whole new level on something like that because nothing looks like it's going to. You're not in the world at all. You're not in the clothes. You have crazy dots on your face. You really have to just transport yourself to where that is. And I like the challenge of that. I think that will be exciting. I always love to challenge myself and surprise people and do things, that are going to shake things up a bit. And I think that this game has done that in a way for me. People were not expecting me to be in this. I think it was such a surprise. Maybe that's why it was kind of such a big deal. But I'm looking forward to using my imagination more with the motion capture.
That's one
Something
thing.
New. Yeah.
When Hideo was there, even directing you for the scanning, I think the same thing with PCAP. He's such a hands-on director because he really is. You have to translate what's in his brain to explain to you because sometimes you'll get some images or some concept art, but then as you said, when you finally see the game and the final scenes, I'm sure it will be a revelation to you about how it all got translated. Yeah,
completely. It's like you can, talk about the scene, but then when the whole world is in front of you, and even like Super 8, the monster wasn't there for Super 8, and JJ actually, I think that he kept it secret from us of what the monster looked like. I think he did that on purpose. He kind of wanted us just imagine the scariest thing possible for us, like as kids, like what is the scariest imagery you can imagine? He didn't want to cloud our minds with what it actually looked like. So we all were imagining something different. And then ultimately, obviously it, came together and we got to see the unveiling of the monster, which we were so, it was wrapped in so much secrecy, but acting is, it's all living in a fantasy land a lot of the time.
No, the same thing here where you said, I think when you'll see the scenes, Hideo and his team, they do the visuals are so incredible as you saw in the trailer. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
How
and it's probably, changing constantly too. So he can kind of show you, oh, this is maybe what it's going to look like. But by the end of it, I'm sure he'll have a completely different vision. So that I can't wait to watch. Like, does your video game, does it have like premieres? Like how does it, or it just kind of comes out and then that's it? Or is there a spectacle of some kind?
We don't actually have premieres. But Elle, if you ever want to see the game, you're always welcome to come here and I can show you anytime. And during performance captures, you'll be surrounded by lots of monitors. And on those monitors, you can actually see in real time what the environment, what the world looks like in CG. It's not high quality, but it's something. So it's not exactly like how JJ did it with hiding the monster, because you can technically see where the monster is located. It's easier to imagine it than before, but it's still not the complete picture. And typically, the actors will play around with that for like the first hour. It's not an easy task, but I like to make it fun on set. And I'm not James Cameron, so don't worry. I'm not going to put you underwater and film that.
Okay.
No, but part of it is the fun, I think, of, you will interact, I think, with other actors, and that's part of, the play between all of you, and that's what you see in some of the scenes, even in the the trailer, the teaser trailer. You know, you see the actors, and you saw in DS1, right, where they're kind of interacting with each other. So at least sometimes you have someone to play off of. But yeah, it's a very different process, but is really amazing with the technologies you said, with what Hideo is able to do for this.
I know it is funny because even when I got to, when you're watching things that Hideo has put together, obviously in the early stages of the game, he'll always say like, this isn't done. This is not what it's going to look like at all. But then I look at it and I'm like, it looks pretty amazing. You're like, but this looks really good. And it's like, but in his mind, he's like, oh my God, it's going to be so much better. Don't even look at this. And I get it, but it's just the technology. It is really funny. Because I'm like, this already looks so outstanding. It looks so real. But it's just only going to get better. In his mind, I can, it's going to be perfect.
And where you think this will be one of the first video games you play when it finally comes out?
I do, actually. I do, because I have to. I'm like, I have to. I was a part of this. I'm like, I can't possibly be in a video game and not play it. I'm like, yes, I will.
So Hideo, the process on DS2, now that it's been announced, and Elle, and obviously we saw Norman's back and Leia. How will the production process be any different on DS2 than DS1 in terms of how you're working with Elle and the other actors? I know for one thing you've had to do a lot of it remotely, which is very different.
Well, I'm trying to shoot in chronological order, following the timeline of the story. And with games, you can't shoot it like a movie where they'll lock in a 3-month or 4-month schedule and shoot it all at once. I make the games as I film the cutscenes, and the staff and I give each other feedback to make sure we keep consistency throughout the game. So we can't shoot it all at once, and instead, we shoot regularly, like once a month. And anything that isn't realistic in the game will affect the story, so we adjust when we need to. The story of the scenes will change as we go. As I said, we've been shooting performance captures chronologically, but we're reaching the limits of remote filming. So we started going to the actual set, and we'll continue to do that.
A little bit different process, and again, having to do some of this virtually. As you said, hopefully you and Elle will be in the same room together, working through it. But as you said, Elle, as you have to shoot it in parts, is that going to be, that's also somewhat different for you, I guess, to sort of, put your mind in the character and then have to sort of move out of it and come back in. So Hideo's given you some kind of visuals and some description of it. But that'll be a little bit different process for you too, I guess, to do it over time, right?
Yeah, well, because also, with the film, there is like a flow to it, because it's just kind of this concentrated amount of time that you get to focus on it and finish it, and then it's, you go home and it's done. But for this, it really, it's a long process, and you can kind of keep coming back for more. And I'm filming a show right now, but then also we're obviously talking about the game. And so I'll be in between shows. You're just trying to fit in the time to finish the game and schedule that. And so, yeah, it definitely is more, sporadic than a movie or something.
Also, though, since this is a game, your character can kind of do anything and, be anyone you want to be and change. Did you have any requests for Hideo about how you wanted your character to evolve or change in the game?
Well, I mean, he knows best, like story-wise, he knows best. But I am very happy with my character, I have to say. I am very happy with a lot of things.
What are you allowed to
say? Yeah, what I know, I'm like, oh gosh, I do not want to get in trouble here.
Well, Hideo, but you really said you wrote this part in many ways for Elle, right?
I really can't share much, but she's a very, very important character. And yes, I created the character with Elle in mind. So I was worried about her saying no to the offer. I would have had to throw out the scenes that I had written, since she plays a major role.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, couldn't say no. No,
but obviously for you, when Nick, you said Nick had mentioned to you Hideo, and then when you got on the phone with him, you said hadn't played necessarily a ton of games, but Nick obviously comes very highly recommended from Nick and everyone. Was it instant for you that you wanted to be a part of this, or did you have some pause about like, do I want to do a video game, or were you curious about it?
It really wasn't. I'm very like an instinctual person. Like even when choosing projects, like if there's something that I feel like I have to do, I will make it work, you know, because of course my manager and agents, they're like, okay, but this is also a big undertaking because you're going to be, you know, it takes a long time to make the game. So scheduling wise, it might just be easier, you know, if you don't do it, it might be easier on yourself. And I'm like, no, I have to make it work because I had this feeling of, I just wanted to be a part of it. I would be so devastated if I had said no to this and then, you know, I saw it coming out. I would just be really upset to have missed the experience and also to miss creating this relationship because now, you know, he's on the complete other side of the world and we get to talk and have this, you know, collaboration together that hopefully it will last and we can create other things. And I'm being introduced to a world that I never have been before. So I think it would be a real loss if I had said no. I'd be giving up a lot. And so I knew I was always going to do it. I was never going to be talked out of it.
もう飛んでいくよ感じ。
I was completely ready to fly out to see you.
Great. Yeah, I'm strong-willed. Like when I want to do something, it's like, we're going to make it happen.
Well, no, we're grateful you said yes. And as you said, I think it's so fun that everything has been in some ways so virtual already in the scanning. And you said haven't even met Hideo face to face yet. Partially, mostly because of the pandemic, as Hideo said, that he hasn't been able to travel around and hasn't even been to the US in a few years. And you know, his first trip was over for Game Awards to reveal this teaser trailer and finally answer the question of who am I? And I think people were wondering, you know, were you going to be in maybe a different brand new game, but obviously it is DS2 that you're going to be in, and that's part of the reveal. So everyone's, as you said, there's lots of theories on the internet on who your character might be and what role they will play. Have you heard any of the rumors?
I've seen a couple rumors that are interesting that I'm like, I need to ask Hideo. So there's something that's like funny to me that I like not on this podcast though. I'm gonna ask him something. But gosh, people do find out things so quick, right? Like with the diehard fans, I feel like they put stuff together. I don't know. No one's really hit the nail on the head. I don't know how they could because it's this character that he's created, so it's not, right. You know.
Not exactly what people expect, but no, that's part of the, you know, Hideo's fans. He has this great relationship with them, teases them and plays with them, you know, across all his games. And you're right, within it felt like within minutes when the first photo went up, people were guessing you might be in it, and superimposing photos of you on top of the poster and things like that, and even guessing you know. Who am I? Did that tie to a name of one of your movies? And everyone's sort of trying to guess, was it somehow, you know, Hideo's... Hideo, when you came up with the who am I phrase, what inspired that?
まあ映画で言うと
Well, first of all, with movies, when they announce that something's going to be made into a movie, they'll reveal the title or who the director is, and also who the cast is. And just that piece of information is enough to get people talking. No one is doing that with games. At least, not before they start shooting. So I first came up with this idea that I wanted to create a buzz once by just announcing the cast. And by asking the question, who am I? It's of course asking the audience who the person in the poster is, but it also ties with who she is in the game. And well, obviously the answer is Elle Fanning. But here's what's most important about this teaser. It's not about who it actually is, but more so who you want it to be. That's the question I was asking to the world. And their answer was Elle Fanning. Everyone wanted it to be Elle, and that was the correct answer. That was the resounding response that we got, and that's what was most important. It might not be my place to say, but gamers all over the world wanted Elle to be in the game. And I think the phenomenon of the Who Am I teaser proved that.
They were hopeful.
Phew, thank God they said the right answer.
You know your fans though, Hideo and Elle, we're so thrilled. Welcome to the video game world, and there's no better way to start than with Hideo Kojima games. So we can't wait to learn more.
Thank you. Couldn't agree more.
Thanks, Elle.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
はい、さて早くもエンディングのお時間ですと。
It's time to wrap up this episode. What did everyone think? Ms. Elle, she's, very cute and very, who am I, Jeff, what did you think?
Yeah, it was such a great episode, Hideo. I'd never met Elle before, but I love how she spoke about you and the medium and the reverence she had for this project. I can tell that she's very passionate about it. And one thing I will say about all the actors in your games is that, they're never just doing it because someone told them to do it or because, it was about the paycheck. It really feels like they're creatively invested in building a character and a story and a world with you. So I can't wait because I don't know much about what Elle's doing with you, but it's clear that she's very excited about it. And I think she's a phenomenal actress. And this is great that this is kind of her gateway into the world of gaming. So it was really such an honor to hear from her. And I can't wait to see what you guys create together. I think it's going to be a very, very special character.
エルさんをゲームで使うっていうのは
Putting Elle in a video game is a big responsibility on my part, so I wanted to make something that will live up to her expectations. And she's so young, but very grounded and smart, which you could probably tell from our talk. We still have a lot more to shoot, so I'm looking forward to making something great with her. I think everyone has a certain image of Elle from her previous movie roles and whatnot, but I'm working on something new that's quite challenging. So I can't say what it is yet, but I hope you'll all stay excited for it. I think it'll be something that Elle fanning fans will really enjoy, but also, for those who are not yet fans of Elle, they will definitely grow to love her too.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for working with her on this game. We can't wait to learn more about it and reveal more. There's obviously many more layers to DS2. Well, there you have it. Brain Structure is looking to hear from our listeners too. If you have a message for Mr. Kojima, if you have thoughts on the program, or if you have ideas for themes or guests for future episodes, please send them our way. The link to the message form can be found in the episode description. We're waiting to hear from all of you.
はい、ということで、
Please look forward to next week's episode of Hideo Kojima Presents Brain Structure.
さよなら。
Hideo Kojima Presents Brain Structure is a production by Spotify Studios in association with Kojima Productions and Fam Inc. Narrator Owen Maki. Music Silent Poets. Visual design Mechi Kuro. Producer Hiro Furuki. Director Kohei Takizawa. Executive producer at Spotify Asami Sekine. Special thanks to Kojima Productions, Ayako Terashima, Masafumi Chiba, Miki Suga, and Aki Saito. Hosted by Hideo Kojima.
Today's talk was with the one and only Elle Fanning. You may not be able to see Hideo Kojima's face, but you can tell from his voice that he was smiling from ear to ear. He wrote the story around Elle and her character for DS2, so her role must be key. Speaking of keys, next week is another key person. On the next episode, we'll be joined by special guest. The staff won't let me say it. Stay tuned.